Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for giving me the floor. And now, with your permission, I'd like to present a statement to the House on the question of Santa Claus. Prime Minister, honourable members of Parliament, I'd like, if I may, to take you back to December 24th, 2020. It was the first Christmas since Britain officially left the European Union. Now, on that night, we received reports, alarming reports, of our borders being crossed illegally by a red-clad individual and a herd of reindeers. Now, this man, calling himself Santa Claus, left, it appears, his home in the Arctic Circle and travelled through France, across the Channel, to reach the UK illegally. He had no passport. He had no visa with him. He crossed the UK borders illegally. What ensued next is truly frightening. This person, having crossed our borders without a visa, without a passport, proceeded to intrude into British homes, even going so far as to jump down chimneys in order to, and I quote, distribute presents to children at Christmas time. There were reports of him eating the mince pies that he found in these households without asking permission. And there are also reports of his reindeers stealing carrots. Prime Minister, honourable members of Parliament, I would just like you to pause for a moment and consider the egregious nature of these actions. These were British carrots. These were British grown carrots, grown in British fields, cultivated by British tax-paying farmers. These were British mince pies, lovingly baked by British tax-paying families that could have fed British mouths. But no, these mince pies and carrots were instead stolen and used to feed an illegal immigrant who had no right to come here in the first place. Do they not have mince pies and carrots in the North Pole? Well, if I may humbly suggest something, Prime Minister, if the North Pole does not produce mince pies and carrots, well, that is the North Pole's problem. The British taxpayers simply cannot be expected to bear that additional burden. Prime Minister, honourable members of Parliament, I wish I could stop there, but no, there is more. There were reports of the chief reindeer, Rudolph, blinding people with his very red nose. There are reports of Santa using the services of this great country, our basic amenities, our sanitation facilities, whilst he had no right to do so. There are reports of him frightening people, going up to them and saying, ho, ho, ho. I assume that must be a foreign language. And our electorate, Prime Minister, cannot be expected to comprehend such foreign languages. But the worst is to come. There were reports of Santa Claus distributing presents to children. Now, Prime Minister, as we all know, this just will create a system of handouts. It will make children dependent upon the gifts of others. It is preventing children from learning to fend for themselves and support themselves. Prime Minister, we are not in the business of offering handouts. But what was the ultimate aim of this person, Santa Claus? Well, there are reports that he may be trying to steal the jobs of British citizens. There are also reports that he may be trying to claim benefits. Prime Minister, members of Parliament, we simply cannot have immigrants sponging off the welfare state or taking the jobs of British people. British jobs for British people, that, Prime Minister, was one of your slogans during your election campaign. And that was a sentiment that was expressed very clearly when we voted to unshackle ourselves from the European Union. Prime Minister, prior to leaving the European Union, Britain was forced, and I do mean forced, to accept freedom of movement. And on account of this, I can only assume that this person, Santa Claus, was used to benefiting from freedom of movement. And therefore, last year, he assumed that he no longer needed a visa to come to the United Kingdom, despite the fact that Britain had already left the European Union, and quite obviously he needed a visa. Now, Prime Minister, quite shamelessly, this person, Santa Claus, has now applied for a visa in order to enter UK airspace on the 24th of December 2021 this year. I exhort this House to reject Santa Claus's visa application for the aforementioned reasons. Firstly, he entered British airspace illegally. Secondly, he ate British mince pies and he let his reindeers eat British carrots. Thirdly, there are fears that he is trying to take British jobs, or even worse, leech, off our welfare state. And fourthly, he is fostering a system of handouts which this Conservative government can and will not support. And finally, Prime Minister, I would just like to remind this House that we left the European Union to take back control of our borders. Is this taking back control of our borders, allowing illegal immigrants to just come in and distribute presents? Prime Minister, I will just end with the following statement. Brexit means Brexit. Thank you.